Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Bloodcloud Palace leader is human and has been secretly protecting Luo Feng. Are you kidding? Who knows? The news is spread among the universe masters and chances are it's genuine. Ha ha. No wonder that Bloodcloud Palace leader has never attacked humans. Now I know the reason. Goddamn human race. It secretly tells Bloodcloud Palace leader to attack us Northern Territory Alliance. The news kept being spread. The Divine Eye clan and some powers in the original universe had information sharing agreements. When a young master spread the news, some of the powers that had suffered under Bloodcloud Palace leader went to question the great beings in the human race. Is Bloodcloud Palace leader human? Why do you humans let Bloodcloud Palace leader slaughter all those beings? No. You're not admitting it. Okay, good for you. All those who went to question the human race got a similar response. Clearly, the human race wouldn't admit that Bloodcloud Palace was human, and it didn't care. When some great beings of other races asked whether they knew human the Luo Feng was with Bloodcloud Palace leader, the human race replied indifferently, "We don't care who Luo Feng makes friends with. We don't have any restrictions for who human universe masters to make friends with. If he's really a friend of Bloodcloud Palace leader, we won't do anything about it. Sorry. We don't need to tell you anything." The human race didn't care about other powers. However, though Primal Chaos City leader and Void Gold Master were tough to others, they were still surprised inside. They asked Luo Feng about it through the virtual universe. Luo Feng's answer was simple. I met Bloodcloud Palace leader in the water area of Tilted Peak sector. We got along very well, so we decided to adventure through the area together. Everything had been planned by an young master, who had been beaten by Luo Feng and Bloodcloud Palace leader. Thus far, his plan had failed, which upset an young master. If he couldn't kill Luo Feng, at least he could cause trouble for him. That was why he had started to spread the news. Bloodcloud Palace leader has lots of enemies, said an young master. His enemies will be hostile against you, Luo Feng. Humph. The more enemies you have, the more likely you'll be kicked when you're down. Just wait and see. An young master was patient. As a supreme being, he'd had a long life, and he'd made himself an enemy of lots of other great beings. They had been hostile toward each other for an eternity. You dare to bully me, muttered an young master. And as a nobody. I won't let you get away with that so easily. I won't. An young master would take revenge for everything. When the great incarnation came, he would die as a great being from the first universe era. Also, he hadn't found any hope to survive the great incarnation. This was the true source of his anger. An young master only made some more enemies of Luo Feng, but Luo Feng didn't care much about it. Normal great beings won't make enemies, as they're afraid of having too many of them. I have Star Tower, and it seems I can get another supreme true treasure, which means I'm destined to be exceptional. The more enemies I have, the more chances I have to sharpen myself. Luo Feng was inside the cave between the first and the second light screen. He feared that it would be like last time. He went through the first light screen, and with the light screen, other great beings couldn't find him at all. The 100th time. Mosha Body had tried to get to that mysterious wing space 100 times. However, it had died every time as soon as he barely even entered the space. 100 times, and Mosha Body only got to observe the surroundings twice. Luo Feng nodded. Twice. Aside from that gigantic light wing, a storm surrounded it. Luo Feng made up his mind. I'll use Star Tower now. He sat on the cold rock between the first light screen and the second light screen. He kept his eyes closed and tried to calm himself down. After all, it wasn't easy to get a supreme true treasure, not to mention, to make one recognize him as its owner. He couldn't be arrogant or careless. He spent 5 minutes calming himself down, and forgot about all the anxiety and excitement. Let's go. Luo Feng moved his mind. A man in bloody armor showed up. It was Bloodcloud Palace leader. Golden Horned Beast will stay here, and I'll go in, Luo Feng thought. He let his original Earthling body get in, as he was the one wearing the Shawu wings. Luo Feng thought that might aid in getting those supreme true treasure light wings. Bigger. 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 Luo Feng held Star Tower. Star Tower bulged and grew into a tower 10,000 kilometers tall. Luo Feng stepped into the tower. Inside the control room of the tower, the metal ground was transparent. Luo Feng stood there. I can see everything outside. His mind was connected to Star Tower's core mind. Star Tower had a certain level of intelligence, but it was highly limited. It might be able to do calculations incredibly fast, but emotionally, it was equivalent to a baby. Everything out there showed up. It was like eternal simulation, in which Luo Feng was able to see the rocks and the light screen on the outside. Move forward. Luo Feng controlled Star Tower, which started to fly. Second light screen, Luo Feng whispered and kept controlling Star Tower. Star Tower flew slowly, but it went through one light screen after another. Before long, it reached the 9th light screen. I'll now arrive in the mysterious space. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. He was bringing Star Tower, Shawu wings, and Force armor along with him. He couldn't afford to lose. I have to succeed. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and entered the 9th light screen. In the dark space, the blade formed a storm that swept across everything, and when Star Tower showed up, it was hit by the blade storm. It bounced away like a small boat in a tsunami. Damn it. Luo Feng felt a terrific shock wave attacking Star Tower. One blade of light after another attacked Star Tower. Each time, it was like hundreds of blades striking at once, which blasted Star Tower away like a toy. Star Tower was completely defenseless. Hit. Hit. The blades of light kept hitting Star Tower, which rolled like a soccer ball. Oh my god, said Luo Feng. He stayed in the control room. Although Star Tower kept bouncing away, he didn't feel anything in the control room. He couldn't feel it, but he could see everything around it, including how Star Tower kept being blasted away like a toy. He couldn't resist such powerful shock waves. Powerful. Too powerful. The blade light is terrifically powerful. Luo Feng had his godly power infused everywhere in Star Tower, so he could clearly sense the shock wave. The blades of light were much stronger than the techniques from Star River Master. Hundreds of times more powerful. The blades of light are incredibly powerful, Luo Feng thought. Possibly more powerful than attacks from Universe Supreme Masters. Although he had never fought a Universe Supreme Master, even Universe Supreme Masters were only stronger than Star River Master to a limited extent. Yet the blades of light. Each one made Luo Feng feel that it was much stronger than the ultimate technique of Star River Master. Too powerful, if not for Star Tower, I would be killed instantly, Luo Feng thought. When he'd fought Star River Master, he had been slightly injured using the shuttle of Star Tower, so it was unsurprising that he would have been killed instantly by these blades, which were hundreds of times stronger. Luo Feng was right. Imperial Master had been in a top-tier palace-type true treasure, which couldn't even be destroyed by a Universe Supreme Master. However, he had been annihilated instantly. Apparently, the Blade Storm was stronger than attacks from Universe Supreme Masters. The Blade Storm was extremely powerful. Even Luo Feng, who was incredibly strong, couldn't control Star Tower. It bounced away time and time again. Smaller. 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 Luo Feng kept controlling it. Star Tower shrank to the size of a grain of sand immediately. The original body of Star Tower was 9 light-years tall, and it could get larger. It could also become as small as a tiny particle. This was the ability of a supreme true treasure. Star Tower had many interior spaces, but even when Star Tower shrank, and spaces weren't affected. Normal treasures could also shrink, but not to the size of tiny particles. When it got smaller, Star Tower was only hit once in a while, as the blades of the storm were enormous. One blade alone won't affect Star Tower. Luo Feng felt he could fully control Star Tower now. Before, it had been flung about like a toy and couldn't be controlled. Now, it wouldn't be affected. After all, it was a supreme-type true treasure. The light wing. Luo Feng stayed in the particle-sized Star Tower. He looked at the endless storms outside and that glowing light wing. He flew Star Tower toward it immediately. The speed of Star Tower kept surging while the space was filled with blade storms, each of which was enormous. There were so many that Star Tower was hit once in a while, and it couldn't fly on a straight line. So far. Luo Feng looked at the giant light wing in the distance. This mysterious space might have a diameter of over 10 light years, and the light wing is several light years away from me. However, space and time have been completely crushed, so I can't do teleportation. Teleportation needed space ripples, only a little bit. However, the blades were more terrifying than attacks from Universe Supreme Masters, so they would annihilate space, which left no ripples at all. Luo Feng had to fly to the white wings. Fortunately, I'm in Universe Ocean, where the speed limit is much higher than in the original universe, Luo Feng thought. The speed limit in Universe Ocean is 100 times faster than light speed, but because of the blade storm, Star Tower isn't able to hit the highest speed. Fortunately, it can still maintain an average speed of 50 times faster than light speed. Flying. Star Tower swiftly flew through the blade storms. Time flew. After a month, Star Tower had already flown more than 5 light years, and it was very close to those giant white wings. All those blade storms come from that white pair of wings. Luo Feng exclaimed, looking at the outside. He saw the edge of the white wings emanating endless light, sweeping in the mysterious space. Some of the blade storms were absorbed by the white wings when they touched it. Erupting and absorbing. Erupt and absorb. Conversation of energy. Luo Feng thought. It looks almighty, but it actually only consumes little energy. Incredible, how incredible. Much more powerful than 5-color Aurora Lake. 5-color Aurora Lake was a supreme domain-type true treasure, so it was weaker in attacking power. Besides, when Double-Face Ancestral God was fighting Virtual Real Devil Master, 5-color Aurora Lake hadn't been fully utilized. It wasn't deliberately conserved, but Double-Face hadn't fully comprehended that. After all, it wasn't an easy task to wield the maximum power of a supreme true treasure. After another 3 days, Luo Feng was very close to the giant white wings. This? Luo Feng's facial expressions changed. He looked amazed before, but now, he was shocked. This is. It isn't a wing. No. From a distance, it had indeed appeared to be extremely breathtaking white wings more dazzling than billions of stars combined. However, when Luo Feng got close enough, he saw that it wasn't a wing at all, but a phantom formed by the overlapping of countless blade lights. Gosh! Luo Feng looked at everything with a thrill. In the distance, blade light overlapped with each other. On the edge, the blade light was thin, and the blade storms spread everywhere and enveloped the entire space. The closer it got to the center, the denser it was. A light wing formed by countless blades. Luo Feng exclaimed. Where did all the blade lights come from? There must be a terrific true treasure. Luo Feng was exhilarated. He kept flying. After another day of flying, Luo Feng finally saw it clearly. At the center of the huge light wing was a white wing, around which was a wing-shaped space. Outside the space around the white wing was the combination of all the blade light. The blade light formed a giant wing-shaped silhouette of light several light years tall, which formed blade storms. The origin seems to be that white wing. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. At the same time, the Shawu wings on his back started to tremble, as if they wanted to fly toward that white wings. I have to get it. Luo Feng held his breath. The closer it got, the slower Star Tower became. 100 million kilometers. 10 million kilometers. 1 million kilometers. So, this is what it looks like. Luo Feng kept observing the wings, as he was now able to see them clearly with his naked eyes. The pair of white wings was 100 meters tall and spread wide open. They looked white, because they were covered with dimming white light and the material was white, but actually, it was covered with dust. Closer. The closer Luophone got, the clearer he saw it. It was a pair of white wings with blood stains on it. 100,000 kilometers. 60,000 kilometers. 30,000 kilometers. Scram. 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 A mental force suddenly hit Luophone, which stupefied him. The mind contacting him was extremely overbearing. It made him feel like an ant facing off against a tiger. Luckily, Luophone was able to stay conscious. Something's wrong, thought Luophone. He found that the mind was hollow. Scram. The words of the mind kept attacking him, but he was able to stay calm. Hollow, thought Luophone. Although it's got terrific power, more so than huge axe founder, it's intangible. Luophone concentrated his mind. Kept going forward, but slow down. 20,000 kilometers. 15,000 kilometers. 10,000 kilometers. The mind kept roaring, but it wasn't difficult to resist it. Scram. Scram. Luophone dealt with it calmly and without fear. Star Tower had the power to guard the soul, so it could resist soul attacks as well as material attacks. As for crushing mental force, it was like a devilish force attacking him. It could, at most, crush one's mind, but as long as one kept his distance, his mind could quickly recover. Star Tower continued slowing down. 5,000 kilometers. 4,000 kilometers. 3.000 kilometers. It kept getting closer. That crushing mental force kept getting stronger, and it kept roaring, Scram. Bastard. Scram. Otherwise, I'll kill you. You would have done that already if you could, Luophone said with a smirk. Besides, I'm in Star Tower. Even Universe Supreme Masters can't do anything to me, let alone you, a simple and stupid mental force. It was, indeed, simple and stupid. That crushing mental force did feel superior, but the only thing it was able to do was roar and swear. When Luophone tried to merge with blood river crystals, that devilish force knew how to form illusions, unlike this crushing mind, which only knew how to roar and swear. Rat bastard. Rat bastard. Scram. Otherwise, I'll kill you. I'll rip your soul off your body. I'll make you regret for the rest of your life. The crushing mind grew increasingly angrier the closer Luophone got. Luophone didn't care. The mind wouldn't threaten him if it could really kill him. Even those beasts on the earth were more intelligent than the wing. Bastard, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. You'll regret it. 2,000 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers. Luophone really felt the difficulty of the task now. He was thrilled, as his willpower was at the Universe Master level. He wouldn't be affected if he was hit by other Universe Masters. Perhaps only a mental attack from Universe Supreme Masters would affect him. However, this mind was not that of any great being. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so primitive. Yet the strength was still terrific. So strange. Normally, distance doesn't matter when it comes to mental attacks, Luophone thought. Mental attacks from 10,000 kilometers would be no different from those from 100,000 kilometers. Is it converging? Luophone moved his mind and turned Star Tower. It had been drawing closer along a straight line. Now, it was following a curve. The several spots, 800 kilometers away, have the same level of attack. Low wisdom. And the mind attack can't be concentrated. Although he was baffled, Luophone kept moving forward. 800 kilometers. 600 kilometers. 400 kilometers. 200 kilometers. The mental attack kept getting stronger. Luophone started to sweat, and his eyes glinted fiercely and madly. So strong. 100 kilometers. Luophone kept moving forward slowly. The mind attack was much stronger. In such a short distance, the mind attack got denser and more oppressing, and it surged exponentially. 80 kilometers. Luo Feng appeared to be in agony. 60 kilometers. Luo Feng's godly body started to shake. 50 kilometers. Luo Feng knelt down on one knee. His godly body was trembling. He clenched his teeth, as if he were being attacked by a giant beast. Luo Feng had seen 3 blood stains on the white wing before, but now that he was 50 kilometers away, he saw 3 scratches on those exquisite white wings. They looked like scratches made by a weapon, and the structures of the wings were a bit damaged. A broken wing. Luo Feng was dazed. There were 3 scratches on the fine lines of the blood-stained white wings. Luo Feng was baffled. Any one of those blade rays that spread all over space during the endless blade storm was even more frightening than the attack of any universe supreme master. This pair of white wings was undoubtedly a supreme true treasure. Based on common knowledge, supreme true treasures could not be damaged. Even within the 3 most dangerous lands, the same theory applied. Damaged? How can it be damaged? Luo Feng was confused. Scratches? How did that happen? Which dreadfully scary fellow could have scratched it? Or was it caused by a certain uniquely dangerous environment within the core domain of the 3 most dangerous lands? Various thoughts flooded Luo Feng's mind instantly. Something that could scratch these supreme true treasure wings, and even stain them with blood. There must have been a story behind this. Although he was shocked and confused, Luo Feng managed to stay level-headed. Since setting foot in Universe Ocean, he had grown to understand the area better through the information he acquired, and had gained an understanding about certain matters. The Universe Ocean was simply too mysterious. The great beings of any reincarnation era could only live up to a maximum of 3 reincarnation eras, apart from the 2 holy grounds. Up to that very day, no one was able to explore beyond the boundaries of Universe Ocean. A large quantity of miniature universes, including the countless ones that had been destroyed, were all limited in size. Except for the 2 holy grounds universes, they were extremely big. A miniature universe was the creation of a universe supreme master. As for the 2 existences that left behind the 2 holy grounds miniature universes, what level would their powers have reached? Until now, there was no relevant information. To be able to scratch this pair of supreme true treasure wings, I guess only the 2 existences who created the 2 holy grounds universes could achieve that, Luo Feng hypothesized. But there is no information about them at all. Of course, he was only speculating. The Universe Ocean was full of secrets. Even he was in a state of bewilderment. He looked at the pair of white wings from afar, those dazzling wings. Something must have happened to them, but I cannot be bothered. What I need to do now is to get a hold of this supreme true treasure. Luo Feng knelt on one knee and placed both palms on the floor to endure the crazy waves of oppressive willpower. That self-contented and insane willpower was roaring. Get lost. You bastard, get lost, or I will kill you. Kill you. Advance. Luo Feng gritted his teeth as he manipulated Star Tower. The oppressive willpower was frightening. The intensity was only second to the time when Star Tower had gone through a life and death ordeal. Back then, the pain during the fusion with Tower Pearl had been excruciating. The pain now was quite tormenting, but it was nothing compared to the previous one. 45 kilometers. 40 kilometers. This oppressive willpower spread in all directions, and the closer it got to the white wings, the more intense the oppression was. This intensity did not increase by mere degrees. Instead, it was a surge in level. 36 kilometers. 34 kilometers. 32 kilometers. 30 kilometers. 28 kilometers. Luo Feng trembled all over. His eyes were bloodshot, and blood was pulsating through his veins. The surrounding space around him trembled as his muscles, viscera, and bones howled as though his life depended on it. Even Luo Feng found it so unbearable that he had to let out a small cry. Pain. It was horrendous agony. I can tolerate it. This is not the limit yet. Luo Feng said, telling himself to bear with the pain. He was closing on the distance. 22 kilometers. 20 kilometers. 18 kilometers. Luo Feng was starting to get attacks of syncope, intermittently blacking out. The oppressive willpower was making him fall into a deep slumber, yet it also seemed to be easing up on him while continuing to roar, "Bastard! Loathsome bastard, you think you can get close to me? Ha ha, far from it. Bastard, quickly take your leave, and I shall spare your life. Stop." Luo Feng gritted his teeth, but still was unable to stop them from chattering. At 16 kilometers away, he finally stopped. This was only a hair's breadth away from the true limit between life and death, but it was already dangerously near. Luo Feng dared not intrude further. The white wings were still unleashing endless blades, which gave form to those dazzling, gigantic light wings. At 16 kilometers away from the white wings, Star Tower stopped. In the main control room, Luo Feng was seated cross-legged with his eyes closed, silently fighting the impact by the oppressive willpower. Thereafter, he eased into gradual adaptation to the impact. The oppression was gradually reduced. After half a year, Luo Feng opened his eyes. Under such suppression, my own willpower was able to undergo a honing process, allowing me to steel myself. This was my gain after all. Luo Feng smiled. Then, he looked out at the white wings. "I must lay hands on this pair of wings," Luo Feng said with an intention in mind. Right away, a trace of godly power flew out of Star Tower. As the white wings released blade rays on a two-dimensional plane level to its light wings, there were no blade rays at the front or back of it for a full 10,000 kilometers. Gigantic, dazzling light wings that spread out to give rise to a blade storm might have swept through space. Yet 10,000 kilometers from the closest two sides of these white wings, there was not a single trace of a blade ray to be found. Godly power, get closer. Luo Feng manipulated his thread of godly power and directed it toward the white wings. Get lost. The oppressive willpower charged at his godly power right away. Peng. Godly power dispersed. Every trace of godly power had its own life imprints and willpower and thus, naturally would be easily annihilated. Seems like this is not going to work. Star Tower, grow longer. Luo Feng manipulated from within. Longer. 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 Star Tower grew longer rapidly, and its tower peak got nearer to the white wings. However, the godly power from within Star Tower was still under the impact of that oppressive willpower, so even though the tower was growing bigger, the godly power it could exert was partial where the topmost region of the tower peak remaining void of godly power. Hook onto it. Star Tower was a 9-story tower, so naturally, its edges would be able to hook onto the wings. As Star Tower grew increasingly larger, gradually closing the distance to the white wings. Finally, the tower reached the white wings. The edge of the tower was a full 100 kilometers, and the white wings were only 100 meters, so, theoretically speaking, holding on to the white wings should be easy. The moment Star Tower's peak touched the white wings, the feeling evoked felt as though an ant had rammed against a mighty mountain. The wings did not even budge. I'm ramming into them, yet they did not move at all. Luo Feng could not believe his eyes. First, he maneuvered Star Tower into moving back slightly, then he charged forward suddenly while accelerating. Bang! Star Tower's peak rammed into the white wings ruthlessly. Yet the white wings continued to unleash endless blade rays that converged to form dazzling light wings. Star Tower's attempt to crash into the white wings proved futile. Damn! This. Luo Feng's eyes widened. Back when Star Tower was involved in battles in the outer domain, it was a treasure without a master, so it could not move about on its own. But due to its massive size, other great beings were unable to move it either. This pair of white wings before me is small, said Luo Feng. The wings are only 100 meters in size, yet my Star Tower, after reaching a massive size of a few thousand kilometers, is unable to cause it to budge at all. Star Tower was like a mallet banging the ancient, massive bell, ramming into the sides of the white wings from a horizontal angle repeatedly. It even retreated to accelerate to a dozen times the speed of light to continue ramming into the white wings. It really is not moving at all. Luo Feng was a little stunned. What should I do? If my godly power wanted to get closer, but is unable to, then there is no way I can get hold of those white wings. Luo Feng was getting frustrated. It was a piece of supreme true treasure that was only 16 kilometers away in mid-air, but it was unleashing endless power, demonstrating its capability. Luo Feng was at his wits' end. Time passed with Luo Feng thinking of new ways to try every day, yet every trial resulted in failure. However, Luo Feng was reluctant to give up. After all, this was a supreme true treasure. Luo Feng could now empathize with the helplessness the four pinnacle races felt when they had all fought hard for Star Tower, but none had been able to get the tower to recognize a master. With a twinkling of an eye, 9 days passed. Bastard, get lost. There is no way you can lay hands on the wings. Get lost. Don't court your doom. The oppressive willpower had never stopped for a breather, but Luo Feng had grown accustomed to the impact of this oppressive willpower. Suddenly, an intangible wave transmitted by the white wings in a split second reached deep within Star Tower and into Luo Feng's mind. Human, an ancient voice said. Sitting cross-legged, Luo Feng's eyes lit up. He clearly felt a willpower that was different from the first one. Who are you? I am the spirit of the wing's true treasure, the ancient voice said. Luo Feng was a little taken aback, but not completely shocked. It was just like how his supreme true treasure, Star Tower, had a spirit of its own, albeit with a low intelligence level. It was like a child, easily coaxed. This pair of wings seemed to be much more mature. I did not expect this, the ancient voice said. That I would actually have a component in the outside world. You did not expect to. Luo Feng was shocked. I once joined my master in a major battle where he was annihilated, the ancient voice explained. His wings were damaged, and the original spirit of the wings was also destroyed. I am a newly born spirit, so I can only recall snippets of the battle. I vaguely recall one blow from our enemy, but the rest is entirely forgotten. Since birth, I have been here. I thought I was a sole existence, but it seems like there are another 2 pairs of wings. Judging from their powers, though, I must be the core, while the other 2 pairs constitute parts of me. Luo Feng was secretly awestruck. A major battle. Damaged wings with the original spirit destroyed. How did you know that your master had been annihilated? Luo Feng could not help asking. I am an object without a master, so naturally my master must have been annihilated, the spirit of the wings said. Human, I have been trapped here for countless ages. I want to leave. But I am unable to. I need your help. Help? Luo Feng asked persistently. How can I help you? There are 4 bloodstains on my wings, the spirit of the wings began. Within each bloodstain, there is a terrifying power and willpower. For time beyond measure, I have been suppressing it, wanting to destroy it. In all that time, I only managed to expel 1. There are 3 remaining. Only if I can suppress and expel them all can my full potential be unleashed. Do you see the injury on my wings? Yes, Luo Feng replied. I am injured. Expelling the 3 bloodstains is difficult. I need some precious true treasures. I will have to swallow these true treasures to facilitate my self-restoration. Now, I need your help. If you can provide me with enough true treasures to help my self-restoration, I am willing to recognize you as my master. But do bear in mind that I have very stringent requirements when it comes to recognizing a master. 1. You must have the perfect life genes. 2. Your willpower must be strong enough. If you are an undying fighter, your willpower must be comparable to a universe knight. If you are a universe knight, your willpower must be comparable to a universe master. If you are a universe master, your willpower must be comparable to a universe supreme master. What a pity. I see that your willpower is only on the level of a universe master. You still need to improve and increase further. Listening to the voice of this spirit of the wings, Luo Feng was extremely calm. But suddenly, his heart gave a sudden throb. Something is not right. A sudden realization dawned upon Luo Feng. It is lying to me. This video will end here.